Welcome to the Art Box Podcast, where we believe almost everything is art. I'm Steve Dudrow, coming to you from the beautiful Carson Valley community of Gardnerville, Nevada. Over the next 7 episodes, we'll be introducing you to some of the curious, creative, and passionate people who help make this community such a special place. These recordings were made possible through a generous grant from the Nevada Arts Council, whose support allows us to travel throughout Nevada, collecting stories, celebrating creativity, and connecting listeners with remarkable individuals and organizations. We also extend our sincere thanks to Main Street Gardnerville for their hospitality, enthusiasm, and assistance in helping us discover the people and places that give this community its unique character. As always, our goal is simple: to explore the many ways art, creativity, curiosity, and community intersect in our daily lives. So settle in, open your mind, and join us as we spend some time in Gardnerville, Nevada. Welcome to the Art Box. Welcome to the Art Box, and I'm sitting in 1420 395.
That's right.
Suite C with Jen Toon, you're the executive director of Main Street Gardnerville.
That's correct.
Okay, and we know each other because I've gone to some Main Street things. Even though you have a Main Street. In Mesquite, we have no Main Street.
I'm sure, anything's a Main Street. I'm sure you have a district of very passionate and involved community members.
Yeah, we're trying to work with our little arts and historic district there. So, but when the Mormons come in, they usually come in and they make a Main Street.
Oh.
In Mesquite, they didn't. Mesquite, they did not.
They didn't. They just skipped it. They said, we get no Main Street.
We get no Main Street. So we're just, we're happy that the Virgin River doesn't flood it out all the time. So, Jen, how are you today?
I'm very good. How are you?
Okay, great. And thank you for allowing me to come up here and hosting me.
Of course. I hope you had a nice drive up. Beautiful Nevada.
Oh, it's a beautiful drive.
Most beautiful state in the Union.
Drive. But I did not see any wildlife.
What?
So, sometimes you see some pronghorn, and
really?
I saw no pronghorn, no horses.
You came up to 95? Surely you saw some burros in Beatty.
No, I didn't come that way.
Oh, you came up.
No, I do extraterrestrial highway over to Tonopah.
Nice.
So, and I was happy to go through.
I'm glad you didn't get teleported by the aliens.
No, I did not. And I like extraterrestrial highway. So, Jen, want to tell us about? What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about you, or you want to talk about Main Street Gardnerville?
It's funny because if I had any of my associates with me and they would hear you ask me that, they're going to roll their eyes and be like, she will not shut up if you start her talking on anything. But really, we can talk about anything. I'll just start with talking about our program. And I don't know how many of your listeners know what a Main Street program is, but at our core, we're a nonprofit organization. And like I said before, we're a group of really passionate, community-forward persons that just strive to make their home more welcoming through beautification efforts, public art. And so we are actually the first accredited program in the state of Nevada. And prior to our accreditation, we were in existence for 12 years, I believe. Because we didn't have a state coordinating program, we couldn't receive our national accreditation. And so we took it to legislation in 2017, and it did not pass. And in 2019, it finally passed to create a state coordinating program, which is now known as the Nevada Main Street Program. And after that, we were able to get our accreditation. So now we're sitting at 8 years strong of an accredited program, and we're joined by now 6 other accredited programs in the state of Nevada, and I think well over 30 exploring communities. But at its core, what the program does is historic preservation and beautification and economic development of the downtown. And it's just a really incredible program to be a part of.
Yeah, and I know we do kind of the same thing, except we're not accredited in Mesquite. How do you find the balance between getting business in here and art? Are there people who say, no, we want the money spent to bring in business, or they're...
I think the beautiful thing about it is it feeds itself. We, through our program, because we've been in existence and operating for so long, we have a way of doing fundraising events like you're going to experience tonight, like the Wine Walk, which is our signature fundraiser, and it's intended to drive people downtown so that the businesses get that foot traffic and you have that exposure. In there, we do fundraising, and so from that fundraising, we're able to create programs that will, help the property and business owners, like our facade and interior improvement grant programs. But then we also allocate that fundraising money to do beautification efforts through our hanging flower baskets and public art installations. And then we also have a really incredible space, which is the Heritage Park Gardens, and it's a community garden. And we have just done close to $150,000 in restoration and renovations to it last year alone.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a beautiful park.
Thank you. The gardens were a labor of love. It's 100% volunteer-driven effort to maintain it and keep it going, but it creates another gathering space within our downtown. So is there really a pull to do either or? I think if you balance it in that you create beautiful things that people want to gravitate to through a stewardship of mutual-minded people come to the heart and soul of your community.
So I really, Heritage Park, I got to walk around there. I'm sorry I missed, they have like a farmer's market there on Wednesdays, I think. I missed that. I didn't get here in time. I'm sorry I missed that.
That's
but the park is beautiful.
Yeah, the park itself, right adjacent to it in the back, that's our garden growing area. It's about 1.5 acres. We have some public art installations in there. And
it's all beautiful. I also noticed that you have one area for dogs, which is very nice, sectioned off, and the other area is not for. And it was interesting because there was a lot of little kids with their parents running around yesterday.
Yeah.
And having a good time, not worrying that they had to step on a dog poo-poo,
It is nice. It's a nice park right there. We did our street mural adjacent to the park and the gardens through a Nevada Art Council grant. We did that a couple of years ago with some really great artists, Sherry and Eric Majors, who were local chalk artists in the area. They had won the Reno Chalk Fest quite a few times. And so that was our first street mural community paint project, and that was a lot of fun.
So you're going to do more murals?
We're always going to do more murals. At one point, Kurt at the Record Courier, he's the editor over there, and he joked around that he called us Muralville at one point, but I don't feel like we have nearly enough murals. I think you can always, Carson City has done a fantastic job, and so has Winnemucca and Fernley, and with all of their murals, it's really something to strive for.
I was looking at that and I just glanced and I saw this guy sitting on a bench.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll go down and talk to him a minute because he's got some dogs, right? And then I took my picture and I looked up. And as I started walking up there, it was a guy. So, but it was a statue.
Man with the dogs. Those are.
What's the story behind that?
I think that was a Travel Nevada grant that we had acquired through, I think it was during 2020 we had got this grant to do Man with the Dogs on the Bench, and it's one of our art installations that we had downtown, and somebody comes in, very carefully decorates the dogs every month with a different theme, so we don't know who it is, and they always credit it to us, but we do not decorate the dogs, but the dogs usually dress up for the holidays. The man with the dogs is what we call him, and whenever I just posted a photo of him on our blog cover for social media, and someone had commented that every time they drive by, their dogs bark at those dogs.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really
great. Funny. Yeah.
So let's go back. What was 6-year-old Jen doing?
Oh my gosh, 6-year-old Jen, she was eating dirt up in Lake Tahoe for sure. So I was originally born in Salinas, California, and then in 1978, my parents moved us from Salinas to South Lake Tahoe. So we lived over on the Y. It wasn't like a Tahoe family by any stretch of the words when you first imagine growing up in Lake Tahoe. Yeah. We lived around the corner from Bart Memorial Hospital, and it was we lived in a trailer park, or on the outskirt of a trailer park. We just ran amok up in Tahoe, and I think, if anybody has
that's pretty good at 6 years old, running amok, isn't it? Yeah,
it was a great childhood experience. Across the street from where we lived, there was a big open lot, and it just had these tremendous tremendous pine trees. Me and my sister and then the neighborhood kids would go and play. And there was like this one tree in particular. I don't even know what it was. It was just one of those pine trees that, is really, it looks like a cone, a cylindrical one.
Yes, and a beautiful pine trees.
Yeah, and right at the base of it is where we would have our fort. And so during the wintertime when it snowed, the snow would cover it. So we would dig in and have this little fort within this tree. And I think that's what 6-year-old Jen was doing, was eating pine nuts and being a feral child in a forest in Tahoe.
Feral child? I haven't heard that before, but that's pretty good. Let's hope that we all get to be feral childs.
It was great. I mean,
are you letting your 4 kids be feral childs?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are for the most part, and I wish that they would be a little bit more feral. But when they were young, they were definitely feral children.
So, were you bringing home paintings and stuff for your mom to put on a refrigerator?
The funny thing is and my dad he had art. He was an artist in his own way. He went to college and took some art classes, and then he took photography. And it's funny you brought up photography earlier, but he had taken photography, and one of his projects was to photograph all the manhole covers, because where he was at the time, each of them were art in themselves. Like they had different.
Yes.
So he would tell these stories about how in college it was his final his project he was doing, and so they would be stopping traffic, trying to photograph all of these manhole covers. And to this day, when my dad gives me a card, he always puts a cartoon character, and then when we were little, he would always draw us. But from even a very young age, I've always loved art. I took art all through school, so yeah, my mom got a lot of paintings, and she loved getting the paintings and the different things I would create.
What's on tap for the rest of 2026 for Main Street Gardnerville?
I like to keep it an open slate. I didn't
go to 2027 yet.
I don't need an anxiety attack. We, because we had such a tremendous investment last year with our Heritage Park Gardens, it was really kind of once in an organization's project to reinvest in this space. The space was in existence. This is its 15th anniversary. And so it was put together with so much loving care over the 15 years that we decided to do a significant investment into that to really bring it together. And so for the next year, like this year, it's just, we're going to be back to square one of, rebuilding, having our signature fundraising events and continuing to do, our community events, our projects and our programs. But we do have an exciting project that we're going to be launching this summertime. We were able to get Nevada Main Street funding to do our Wish You Were Here sheep sculpture wayfinding. And so we are investing in 5 fiberglass sheep that we're going to have our local artists come paint, and then they will be strategically placed throughout the district, and with another QR code to where our online map, but it'll be follow the flock, so you can kind of check out the different art that we have within the district. So we will be doing that this summer. That's kind of our big fun project we have. Gardnerville, the town of Gardnerville just became sister city with Osis, France, and so it's a Basque movement, and so we're really
the sheep are Basque.
The sheep are Basque,
yeah.
But it's funny because we do have a black and white photo of a sheep herd coming down Main Street, and it's really yeah. I'll have to show it to you. It's really great black and white photo. So yeah, there's a heavy Basque influence that's still here, and you got to dine in one of our famous Basque restaurant, the GT Bar. Yeah, bar and dining room. And so there's a really big movement right now for the Basque community to do a lot of things and bring their culture to light. So
I love the idea of the sheep.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit like the Elko cowboy boots. Yeah,
Elko has cowboy boots. Mm-hmm. We lived in Venice, Florida. It was pigs.
Oh my gosh, I love pigs.
My wife and I have a selfie before selfies were popular at almost every pig in Venice. Are you doing the same thing here? Are businesses going to sponsor them?
Yeah, the businesses will sponsor them, but the art won't be an advertisement. What we're going to do is have the businesses sponsor the location and then work with the artists to create the theme of the sheep. The great thing through this project is some of the business locations that are actually going to be putting in for the sheep are actually submitting their own art. So artists that are actually business owners are starting to surface, and it's really neat to see because you always know them as your coffee shop owner or this and that, but they too are artists, and
that's going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and how were the sheep picked because of the Basque influence?
It was. This was another project that I think was, sitting on the back burner, gosh, for maybe 6 years or so. And, and it's like anything great, it's always the opportunity and timing. And so having, we try to have a lot of shovel-ready projects. So when opportunity and timing line up, we can just really strike. So we did a lot of thoughtfulness over the last few years just to get this project ready. And then once we were able to have funding, now we can just kind of go with it. But with everything, it'll be a learning curve. We do have an application out. And so we're going to navigate through scoring, on artist excellence and making sure that we have those systems put in place for it. So,
do you think you'll have more artists apply than sheep?
When we originally put it out, we had a tremendous amount of artists because of with grants, and the artist fee that we are able to offer is not a lot.
Okay.
So they kind of weeded out really fast. But what it did is gave us a great list of artists who are interested in doing maybe future projects. And so through it, we had great contacts of Basque artists who would love to do art. And, because of now, the sister city and this whole movement of the Basque culture being more celebrated, not that it hasn't been in the past, but it's got a momentum now.
It's our folklore.
Yeah, it really is. And so now we have an opportunity to maybe make other art pieces. So maybe next year it's a mural and we can have another muralist come down and do something really great.
It's hard work finding the money.
It is. It's always chasing the money.
Yeah, I love thinking of the ideas.
I'm great with ideas. It's like, great, how are we going to fund it?
If I was only a billionaire.
I have so many ideas. There's so many things I want to do, but then it's always the money. But luckily for us, we have a really great community, and so it's finding the right person to also make it their passion project, and that's how we're able to get things done.
Where do you get your ideas from?
It's funny because your book, it just says a lot, like the title of your book. I feel like my inspiration is in plain sight. Like it's weird to say, but a lot of times, up until recently, I would get up every morning and run just to beat the sunrise, and in there just kind of clear my head, go through a meditative, breathe in the fresh air.
It's a good thinking time.
Yeah, it really was. And I would just try to brush off all the anxieties of all the have-tos that need to get done, but just really try to be present in the moment before I approach my day. And sometimes, in that thought process, things come up. It's like, wow, it's like you can connect the dots of things that are right in front of you that you may not be seeing because you're stuck in the grind of like deadlines and this and that. And so really just trying to get to a meditative space and it makes everything really clear. And, and I'm able to see things, with a little bit more clarity. And then they just kind of come, or I seek inspiration from other communities I'm around, and they do things really well. And it's not to steal their ideas, but it's, a compliment of, what do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Are you trying to make me feel bad for all the pictures I took last night of,
no.
Hey, look what Jen's done.
No, I don't. No, I think it's really great because it's not just in like Nevada. Like every time I go to another conference or visit another area, there's so much that people do, and again, it's the community of people that are dedicated to making something that make people happy on the inside, and their work shows. And so that's inspiration. And inspiration is just, I don't come up with all these great ideas all the time. I can't credit myself, but it's definitely like, wow, they really did something and this meant a lot to their community. How can we apply something like that to what we do? So no, it's flattery.
Okay. Do you ever feel like, and I don't have to put this in there because this is how my mentor, he was my offensive line coach, and then he helped me when I coached football. He told me, he said, Steve, you're always going to be disappointed throughout your entire life. He said, because you have all these ideas. And he said, not everybody cares about your damn ideas. He said, so you're always going to be disappointed.
Wow.
And I feel that way. I feel that way all the time.
You do?
Do you ever feel like I get ideas and I think anything I think of is like the greatest idea in the entire world? Maybe not. But I put that idea out there, and everybody else, they go about their way, and nobody thinks of my idea. So
Well, first of all, I'm sorry, because you can always run your ideas past me and I'll encourage you to go do them.
Yeah, but I'm talking more about the people with the money.
Well, I mean, there's that too. So no, I don't get discouraged by my ideas. And, it's funny, at one point when my assistant was still here, he went off to have another job. And so I'm still mourning the loss. But I would come in from like one of these set runs where I just have these like great ideas, and I'm just I'm so excited. And I'd come into the office and I'd be like, okay, first of all, it's okay to say no, but what if we did this? And it's like, oh yeah, but to me, if you don't speak it into the universe, it's never going to happen. And so it's funny because all of my ideas that I have, and this is so cheesy, I take my idea and then I have to put it into the universe. So either it's by speaking it or I doodle it and I make a sketch of it. Like, this is what it looks like to me, because you need to see this vision. And I am not going to toot my horn, but the majority of the times I doodle it, it comes to fruition. Okay. And so there's energy, we're all masses of energy, and everything we do, it's energy going towards something. So if you keep all of these great ideas inside and you internalize it, it's never going to transpire. You're going to be your army of one with this really great idea that is never going to be spoken into the universe to fulfill. So
that's your tips and tricks.
Yeah.
If you have ideas, let it be known.
Let it be known. And I mean, you don't have to tell everybody your playbook, but at least get it out, because the intention is there. Because if you say it out loud, you're hearing this idea and it's almost an action in itself. Like, I want to do this. And to me, I don't know, it's doodling. And it's funny because I come across all of these random doodles, and then it's like, oh my gosh. And then I would remind Mitos, like my old assistant, I'd be like, do you remember when I drew this out? And look at, here we are. Like, this is, and so that's what works for me.
Do you have a filing system for your doodles?
No, because they're in random notebooks wherever. And it's funny because you were asking about how do I feel about a major highway going through our downtown. And, we were talking about how, it's like, well, we can either pretend it's a blight and it's not here, or we embrace it for what it is. And then I shared with you about how I went down to Lone Pine, and man, they celebrate 395 in that corridor. Lone Pine, Bishop, and all of them, all the Pines, Bishops, and the old the California 395 is really celebrated. And so I just had a vision of, and I doodled it out about, embracing the 395. How does it look here in Nevada, and creating that. So if you see something come up soon that has the old 395 on it, just know.
Well, I used to have on my old laptop, I have a 395 sticker, because there's some roads that just mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff there. 395 was one. Mm-hmm. The other one I got was 6 in Utah.
Oh.
6 in Utah has a lot of, it's not as big as 395, but it's iconic. And I have a friend who wrote, she's writing a book about, have you been on 89?
Is that monitored?
So 89 goes all the way from Arizona, from the Mexican line, all the way to Canada.
Oh, no.
And she drives 89 a lot. Actually, she just bought a website called, it's not interstate or anything, it's 89. But she just loves 89. So she has a podcast about night sky. So she's always talking about 89. She bought, so these roads are, and you've got it, iconic. So embrace the road.
I mean, really, it was an interesting fact that was shared with me, that in the state of Nevada, I want to say in the 90th percentile, 94%, 90-something percent of the tourists that we experience in our rural towns in Nevada are destinational driver. Like, they're driving, they're in their car, and that's the only reason that we're capturing them. And so when you start thinking about that impact that you have on your community, and those are the people that are coming, because obviously we don't all have an airport, we all don't have an interstate, we don't have that kind of network of transportation. You start really looking at your community through a different lens. Like, what would stop that driving tourist to come by and check it out?
And you get a lot of, your businesses report a lot of people stopping?
Yeah, they do. They say, some of them say upwards of, what did I say, really, like 60, 70% of their business comes from people popping in, which was a surprise statistic, that and it's on the weekends. You're going to experience tonight at the Wine Walk, they call it the Eddy Street Well, I call it the Eddy Street effect a couple of years ago, because Eddy Street is a pop-up, and Meredith Fisher, who is on our board, she's also one of our biggest historic enthusiasts and preservationists that we have in our downtown. She opens up her Eddy Street Vintage Market. It's once a month. It usually is the third week of the month, and she does a bonus day when we have a wine walk. And so it's just a complete draw to the downtown. But her cult following that come here to the downtown corridor, specifically on that third weekend of the month, is in the thousands.
Is it really?
Without a wine walk attached to it.
And they're not from Gardnerville.
They're not from Gardnerville.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But again, it's just knowing and creating something that, is special that people come to. If she was open 7 days a week, would it be the same impact? But the fact that, she does, you should probably also look at her on social media, because she does some really great videos for her pop-ups too that keep people wildly entertained.
When I worked this out with you to come up here, I made sure I got the Historian Hotel.
Yep.
And I got a room where I could step out and look at the road. So I'm right there.
Yeah.
So I was out there last night watching the sunset.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty. But even the cars and everything.
It's so funny because you probably noticed this as well, is that the highway's a curse from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock. Come 7 o'clock at night, there's cats running across the road. You know what I mean? You might be able to lay down in the middle of it.
Yeah, it did kind of slow down there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Before we wander back into today's episode, a quick reminder that curiosity doesn't have to stop when the microphones turn off. I have published 13 children's books, including the Teddy's Adventures and Birdie Learns series. Fun learning journeys through science, archaeology, public lands, math, and the wonders hiding all around us. And for the grown-ups, my newest book, The Art of Noticing, is a reflective walk through dark desert skies, podcast conversations, Mojave back roads, a myriad of art medians, and the tiny overlooked spaces that quietly shape our lives. Because sometimes learning begins with asking questions, and sometimes wisdom begins simply by slowing down enough to notice. My books are available now on Amazon. Thank you. What's your favorite music?
All of it, except for some new country.
Okay.
Is that fair? Okay. I love singer-songwriters. To me, they're poets. I love listening to lyrics and music. I think musicians are something I've always wanted to be. My last name is Toon, obviously. My sister was a music major, so she was very accomplished oboist.
Really?
She graduated from UNLV with a music major, and she played at one point in Pavarotti's pit crew while she was down there. Yeah. So she's really accomplished, and her name is Juanita, but she shortened it to Nita, so it was Nita Toon, and I thought that was really funny. And so when I went to high school, I joined the band. My first experience at music was in the 5th grade, and I wanted to play the saxophone, but my band teacher told me I looked like I was making out with a gorilla, so I quit. I joined the choir.
Did he say that?
He did.
Why did he say something? Was that mean?
It was mean, but he was also my woodshop teacher, so you know how woodshop teachers are. But he was also the band teacher, and he just had, I don't know, it was maybe he had a bad day.
Yeah, but here you are a few years later, and you still remember it.
Yeah, because I thought... He
should be ashamed of himself.
Well, I was like, I don't want to look like I'm kissing a gorilla, and, maybe I was terrible at it. So then, my sister continued on with music, and then when she went to the high school, she was just having a great experience in the high school band, and so I decided to join the band, and I decided to go percussion that time, and it was a really great experience. I love music. Like, I think 90% of my day is just having music on in the background. I love all genres. I love classical. I love jazz. It's just, there's nothing that really would, except for modern country.
My playlist is kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I don't know whether anybody else would like it or not, but
I feel the same way too. It's just, mine's really erratic. Like, there might be some 90s rap in there, and then there might be some singer-songwriter, and the next thing you know, we got some classical stuff. Crooners, though. I mean, all of it. I just love it all.
I don't really share mine with anybody.
They might institutionalize you.
Yeah, they could. Or they'd say, "Oh, there's bubblegum music in there." You're so cliche. What's wrong with you? So you live in Nevada, and you travel.
Yeah.
What's your go-to snack on a road trip?
Oh, good question.
It's not always the same thing.
No. I love sandwiches, so it's a weird thing, but whenever I travel, I crave their version of a good deli sandwich. That's not really a car snack, but in the car, it would have to be like pistachios or something crunchy.
Yeah, because it was car snack, you had a mustard down in front of you.
I mean, I'll still eat a sandwich driving through.
So where did I get to go to the other day? And when we were in Florida, that we had. Have you ever been to a Schlotzsky's Deli?
Oh my gosh, I used to have one in Carson, and I tried to bring it up and ask someone about a Schlotzsky's, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I just saw a Schlotzsky's at the airport when I was flying back from Tulsa.
At the airport, huh?
Yeah, I was like, "They have a Schlotzsky's here," and they're like, "What's a Schlotzsky's?" And it's like, you would have to know. Like, the bread was weird. No offense
I got dark bread.
No offense to Schlotzsky's fans, but the bread was weird, and something about the olives just really bothered me. But
oh, really? That you didn't like it? Because there's one in Vegas, and I was down there the other day, and I told my wife, I'm going to stop at Schlotzsky's. You want anything? She's like, no.
I haven't had one in forever.
Yeah. It was good. If you could go back in time, where would you go and why? And you heard me ask that question to Rayanne, so you know all the particulars around it.
It's interesting if I were to go back in time, like any time.
Anytime you want.
You know what's always fascinated me, and I don't even know why. Maybe it was because I watched too many TV shows. I would go to the post-World War I in Europe, in England, just because there was something so like dark and gritty about re-emerging from post-war. Like, it was just such a different era. You know, we basically, civilization as we know it had to redefine themselves in the modern era. Okay. It's a weird, I don't know why. That's just something that rattles in my head. Yeah,
that's interesting. We all think of different things. Do you come up with any ideas when you dream?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I do. I have a lot of vivid dreams, and it's funny you say that because the last week has been some really crazy vivid dreams to where it's just been really, really interesting dreams. Almost disturbing.
Really?
Yeah. Last week.
Is there anything good about them?
Some of them are just like really interesting. Like one of them, I was working in this area to help, like, basically plan out how they could create a better destination of it, and like some of the infrastructure. Like, it was a really weird dream. And then a week before that, I had a dream that I was almost hit by a car. So, there's no rhyme or reason to my dreams, but
yeah, I have some bad ones like that too.
I mean, the one that I almost got hit by a car is because I was sitting there talking to people and telling them about, blah, 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 blah. And then I stepped out in the road and the car just whizzed by me. And then I said, oh, stay back, everyone. You got to look both ways. And
wow. Yeah, I almost got bit by a snake the other night.
Oh my goodness.
My wife woke up. What are you doing? I hit it with both hands. Damn, and I hit the table right next to it. My drink fell over, and she's like, what was that? I said,
I saved your life.
I don't know. Yeah, I did save her life. But I was rolling around the ground. I don't know what came of that.
Wow.
So, do you ever get any good ideas here, though, for Gardnerville?
Sometimes they do.
Or are they all running?
It's like my brain's constantly running. If you remember the old Rolodexes that you would put business cards in, the ones that kind of spin. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's a good analogy for my brain. It's just it's constantly spinning, and it's just a lot of unfinished business rattling up in there.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah. So it's like I have two extremes. I'm either 100 miles an hour and doing things that keep me busy and occupied, or I'm comatose and rotting on my couch. But if I am comatose and rotting on my couch, that becomes my identity, and I don't want to be that person. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I don't want to say it in a term of like I'm a workaholic and I do this and that, but I mean, we only live once, and I don't like to come from the land and know, only because
thank you very much. Yes.
And if somebody says, do you want to do this? And it's like, why wouldn't I would like to try it. Or what does this look like to you? I don't like to live a life. And I felt like for a majority of my life, I lived a life that had structure and limits that made me uncomfortable if I was outside of that, because it was taught to me that you are in this little, space, and you do very good things in this space. And so as I've grown and aged more, I've realized that at some point I'm tired of being uncomfortable, but I thrive by being uncomfortable. And so finding that balance of discomfort because you're trying something new or you're experiencing something new is really what I do. So I'm fine with having multiple browsers open in my brain.
Yeah, like on your desk. Oh, you put a couple away.
When I do too many things at once. It causes me to be a little distracted if people don't think I listen to them sometimes because I get lost in my head. I think I've always been a child that got lost in her head. Just I'm
There's
a thinker.
nothing wrong with that.
No.
And you mentioned, because I have a hard time dealing with people who say no. Okay, and there's a lot of people that the first word out of their mouth is no.
And they haven't even thought about it.
It drives me crazy. And I have a lot of friends who are yes people. They're not yes to me. They're not anything I say, they say yes. But they have ideas and they're expecting, they have ideas, I have ideas. So let's talk about that idea. And it just drives me crazy. And I've got a situation going on now in Mesquite with no, and I'm bringing people in from Las Vegas who want to do these great things. I'm saying, talk to this person in Mesquite because they're doing this great. And the person in Mesquite says, no, sorry, we're closed. And it drives me crazy.
Yeah. It really does. I mean, I think saying no without conversation, but then it goes on the other, respecting their boundaries. I just don't.
I understand all that.
I don't take no for an answer in a lot of ways. But then, if I get no, and if I get a no, I reevaluate my approach. And so the approach that tends to be successful sometimes is not pitching what you want, but having this really great idea to share. And then once everybody starts getting excited and it becomes their idea and they embrace it, you start getting a lot more yeses. You got to make it their idea.
Yeah. Yes, you do. There's some people, if it's not their idea,
they don't want to do it.
It's going to be no.
Yeah.
Yes. I just there's a lot of opportunity, and
there's a lot of psychology behind how you get the yes.
Yeah.
I see you're a kind of person that would really like to have this fulfilled. You seem like you're very reasonable, and this something aligns with what you do. If you set it up like that, and then you slide in the ass, you're like, oh, he thinks I'm gonna like this. That's where there's psychology behind everything. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not that in tune to it. I just get overly excited, and people either stop talking to me or.
Yeah, that can happen. So, but I don't know. There's so many opportunities. I mean, you probably couldn't live 3 lifetimes enough to do the things in this town that you want to do right now.
No, and I'm not, and I never feel like that's my destiny. I think that the beauty of the people that are very passionate about what we do is that we know that we're very temporary, and we live in a town that is going to be here long after us and has been here well before us. And so when we take advantage of just being a good steward of what we are left with in this time that we have here on the planet, I think that that's where you get the fulfillment. And just being surrounded with like-minded people like that, the tasks are always going to be ongoing, and whether I'm the one that completes it and checks the box, it's as long as it gets done, it's going to get done.
Okay, that's all of our fun stuff. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever, because I see it, we get these great ideas, and I'll use as an example, we put wraps, and this has been before my time, they put wraps on the utility boxes. Okay, well, now here we are 5 years later, and some of them are fading and cracking. And it's so, I got to think about anything we do now, I don't think we normally think about what we're going to do 5 years down the road. How much effort do you guys put into that? A lot.
There's a lot of thought into it, and my biggest conversation, and the first talking point I will have with anybody who wants to talk about public art and its permanence is to tell them that public art is impermanent, and there's nothing permanent to it. It can be saved in photographs. The original intent of it, we've restored our original Basque mural that we put in I think it was 2015, the one that overlooks the JT across the street. And Beverly Caputo was our original artist, and she painted it. And then a couple of years ago, we had to do the investment to restore it because it was faded, and so we had to after putting on an engineered, because it's on plywood, so you're engineering the structure that got put on and it's hung and it's been there for all these years. How do we restore this when it's 3 stories up? So it involved a scissor lift. It involved strapping Beverly Caputo in there, and it involved her in the hot sun retouching this mural on its place. And so after that, it was, the discussion started turning into, we put in public art and we may be able to love it for 5 years or for longevity. Our street mural, oh no, it's going to get driven on. Oh no, it's art. It's impermanent. But for the time it's there, it's like fresh cut flowers. And I don't know if you heard the story when people were so, why get fresh cut flowers? Because they die right away. And the whole intent is that these fresh cut flowers are for you to remember and just to appreciate right now and be right now and appreciate it, whatever is going to happen to them in 3 days, and they wilt and lose their color or their fragrance. And I think when it comes to public art, it's very much the same. We're creating something that, but it's not the Colosseum.
But we have to think about, because everything costs money. Yeah. We have to think about that.
It's a restoration. So part of our budget is centered around restoration, or we give art about a 5-year lifespan, and then at that 5 years we have to look at it, readdress it. Do we want to put money into restoring it, or do we the 20 and 20 mural this put at the Gardnerville station at the S curve? Cheyenne Marcus was doing this project to get 50 murals in 50 states, not 25 and 25, 50 and 50. So we were one of the murals in her 50 states. She's at 41. She needs 9 more states to get her 50 done, and sadly by the time she completes those 50, we're going to have to change out the mural. But what are you going to do? You know what I mean? It's harsh conditions outside, but we got to enjoy it for 5 years. So.
Yeah, and I guess what that allows is to have a younger generation come in.
And dictate what they want to see. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it should be. And at this point, since we invest in the structure, it's like, well, maybe this should be a revolving piece of art where we can have a different way to apply the art so that an artist can have an opportunity to be featured once a year. And so every year it's a changing art. I talked to you about the commissioned art pieces that we buy once a year from our local artists to do our save the date cards and that art for the year. And it started with Lavon Lavasic Tulip right there, the Main Street on Parade, and she did this gorgeous watercolor, so beautiful. When we brought her on board to do it, she was struggling with some health issues, and she had not quite known what was going on. So she worked through that piece of art in, a little bit of pain. She did the history. She looked at all the black and white photos. She read the books, and she created this really beautiful piece of art that we were very proud of. And I don't even know if it was a year later, she ended up passing away and being diagnosed with ALS. And so the impermanence of permanence, we leave an indelible mark on things we touch through the acts and services we do. And I'm just really, it gets me teary-eyed when I talk about that, because now the collection has grown, and so people's expressions through art are being captured, and I think that's really how we leave our legacy.
That means so much more to me now. Mm-hmm. Although we pass anyway, so it should have meant more to me just seeing it from the beginning. You
would think so, but it's funny about humans, and it's funny about...
They're going now, and we... Yeah, I'll have to really, because that's beautiful too.
It's a gorgeous piece.
So, well, you guys are doing a great job here.
Well, thank you.
I really appreciate you. So, if you want to come to Gardnerville, how do we get here? Is there a website?
$3.95. No.
Well, we have $3.95.
So the best way to see what we're up to here in Gardnerville, we have all of our calendar events. Today's the start of our biggest fundraising series, the wine walks, and you're going to be a changed person by the time that this evening ends. It really brings everybody downtown. So we do those May through September, every third Thursday. We have the annual coffin races and fall festival. Oh yeah, it is a sight to see. We pack that park that you went and visited. We have thousands of people that come there, entertainment all day, coffin races. And then we have our Dia de los Muertos festival, which is a really beautiful cultural celebration we have, and that's the first Saturday of November. And we have...
Is that the Day of the Dead?
Yeah, it's really, this was my really good friend Georgiana at Douglas County Community Services. She brought this idea, like, have we ever thought about doing this kind of festival? And I said, well, let's just try it. And so we partnered to bring this festival, and so we worked with with the county to create it. And at first we had the Latino art to culture come down from Reno. So we had the 12-foot tall Katrina dolls telling the story of the Day of the Dead. Yeah. We had, they brought Aztec dancers. Then we had the vendors that were our Hispanic community of vendors and food. And so it just created this really fun day. The next year we added more entertainment. So we hired mariachi bands. We had a trick roper, and then we had the ballet, the folkloric ballet do their dancing. And so we just have continued to add, and the event is now growing in size. And so by the third year, I can say with 100% that it has been embraced by the Hispanic community. And so it has become something for them to look forward to. So we see the same families show up year after year, dressed up with their faces painted. And it's just a really beautiful event. And I'm really grateful she brought this to us. So that is our big cultural event we have in November.
Yeah, that's huge too.
It's really big. It's getting as big as the cost. So at this point, I'm filing for fall festival permits, or I'm sorry, not fall festival, but festival permits for both of our festivals, because they've gotten to the point of size that it's just such a great community, and that park is right downtown. So
yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that's great. I go to one at Winchester Dondero Cultural Center, if you've ever been there, in Las Vegas, and it sits in a Hispanic community, and it is. I've only been to one. That was last year. My friend Irma invited me. Oh my God! So if yours is anything like theirs, you got to come.
Yeah. So if you want, like we have our website that has a lot of the events, but usually our social media, our Instagram and our Facebook, we do post a lot of video content highlighting these events, just so that you can kind of get the feel for it. Again, it's something worth celebrating, and so.
Okay. So to all our listeners out there. Fly into Reno and drive down to Gardnerville.
Exactly. Meet you downtown.
Just a short hop.
It's just a short hop. You're right over what are we, like a 20-minute drive from Lake Tahoe. You can do it all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Lake Tahoe is right there.
Yeah, it is. I hope you go check it out before you leave.
So, well, Jen, what's inspired you this past week?
I think the biggest inspiration is the latest social media post I did for the Wine Walk. Just being able to call on a local business owner who is very busy in herself running her business to see if she would just take 30 minutes out of her day just to do some B-roll for our social media posts. And so what really inspired me are the tremendous people in this community that really work tirelessly to create a space that people can enjoy. And why wouldn't you want to continue doing what you do because of that?
That's good. And every post I see from you guys, you're always having fun.
We try to.
Always having fun. Well, Jen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me up here.
Of course.
And working through this. And you're always smiling. and that's Gardnerville.
That's Gardnerville.
Garderville's full of smiles.
It is.
So,
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for highlighting our town.
Yes, ma'am. As we close out another episode of the Artbox Podcast, I want to offer a heartfelt thank you to everyone who helped make our time in Gardnerville such a memorable experience. These special recordings were made possible through a generous grant from the Nevada Arts Council. Their continued support helps us travel throughout Nevada, meeting artists, storytellers, makers, dreamers, and community builders who make our state such a vibrant and creative place. A special thank you also goes out to Jen Toon, Executive Director of Main Street Gardnerville, for her incredible hospitality, enthusiasm, Jen oozes enthusiasm, and for introducing me to the many wonderful artists, business owners, and creative souls we've had the pleasure of chatting with throughout this week. Every introduction led to another fascinating story, and that's exactly what the Art Box is all about. To the people of Gardnerville, thank you for welcoming us into your community and sharing your time, talents, and stories. I'm Steve Dudrow, reminding you to stay curious, keep creating, support the arts, and never pass up an opportunity to look through a sandcastle window. Until next time, this is the Artbox Podcast.